And then he goes to tuition. I don't know why, but that sentence has been staying with me because before he reaches the tuition teacher, a rather long day has already happened. 6 in the morning, alarm, wash, breakfast, uniform, school bag, and before 7, he is out of the house. Travel, school, classes, break, more classes, and then the journey home. Maybe he reaches around 3, changes his clothes, eats something, lies down, perhaps sleeps for a while, and somewhere around 5, he feels reasonably human again. If you look at the clock, almost 11 hours of the day have already revolved around school. And then he goes to tuition. Physics, chemistry, mathematics, accounts, economics, English, whatever his subject happened to be. And I keep wondering, what exactly is tuition completing? Maybe nothing is wrong. Perhaps the tuition teacher simply gives more practice. Maybe the chapter was taught perfectly well in school, but examinations need another kind of preparation. Maybe the child understands better in a small group. Maybe he had one question in school, but there were many other children waiting, so he carried the question home. Maybe one teacher explains something and nothing happens. Another teacher explains the same thing differently and suddenly it makes sense. We all have experienced that. Sometimes the problem is not the subject. Sometimes we simply needed another sentence. And perhaps sometimes the tuition has very little to do with the child. Everybody else is going, and somewhere in the parent's mind, a small question begins. What if my child doesn't go? So perhaps nobody here needs to be blamed. Not the school teacher, not the tuition teacher, not the parent, not the child. Maybe we should simply look at what has happened. A Government of India education survey in 2025 found that about 27% of school students were taking or had taken private coaching during the academic year. More than 1 in 4. Which means this evening classroom after the daytime classroom is not some rare family arrangement. For many children, it has quietly become part of education itself. And that makes me even more curious. Because if tuition is valuable, then surely we should understand what value it is adding. More attention, more practice, more examination focus, more freedom to ask, a different pace, a different relationship with the teacher. I don't think the interesting question is tuition good or bad? That becomes another argument. The more interesting question may be, why did this particular child need it? The tuition ends, perhaps it is 8, maybe 8:30. The child comes home. And then, of course, there is homework. Apparently, tuition does not cancel homework. So if we look at the whole day again, school, travel, rest, tuition, homework, preparation for tomorrow. A remarkable amount of childhood has moved around education. Or perhaps I should say around educational activity. Because the two may not always be identical. A child can spend an hour somewhere without learning very much, and another 15 minutes can suddenly change the way he sees a subject. So perhaps the clock alone cannot tell us whether learning happened. Maybe the better question is, what did the hour give him? Did he understand something? Did he become more curious? Did a teacher notice something in him? Did he acquire a skill? Did his confidence grow? If yes, beautiful. But time has one rather inconvenient quality. Once an hour of childhood is spent, it doesn't come back. childhood does not come with a refund. And perhaps that is why this ordinary day deserves our attention. Not because school is wrong, not because tuition is wrong, but because when a child needs one educational system in the morning and another educational system in the evening, perhaps it is worth understanding what each one is actually giving him. And somewhere behind this question, I can already see another one waiting. So much school, so much tuition, so much homework, so much preparation. Preparing for what? We don't need to answer that today. Perhaps we can look at it together next time. For now, maybe we simply carry this question with us. How much time are our children spending around education, and how much of that time is becoming learning? I am Bajrang Kumar Garg. This is the Education Reset at SoulStill Sanctuary, whispers that build worlds. Let's keep looking.